Yo, what's up, guys? With all the Anthony Davis to Chicago Bulls rumors that just came out, I thought I'd talk about another possible reunion with Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls that I know a lot of Bulls fans really want to happen. But before I jump into today's video, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. Also, leave a quick like below today's video. It takes a second and it helps me out a lot. And some comments and questions below today's video about a possible Derrick Rose and Chicago Bulls reunion. Also, definitely check out my last video if you guys missed it. I was discussing and breaking down all the recent AD trade rumors, also how the Bulls are interested in signing Giannis's brother, and I threw up some highlights of Patrick Williams playing some 5v5s. But either way, let's just jump right into today's video because let's just be real. Every Bulls fan loves Derrick Rose. I know a lot of Bulls fans want the Bulls to sign him or trade for him or just bring him back home one day. And a couple days ago, Heavy.com did put out an article talking about the potential of a Derrick Rose and Chicago Bulls reunion. Before I jump into it and break it down, let me know below today's video if you guys think this is ever going to happen and if you guys just want this to happen. Because I'm going to be real, I would love for this to happen. Derrick Rose was the whole reason I became a Bulls fan. You know, growing up, I always played basketball with my buddies, but I never really watched it until about 2010, 2011. I really started getting into it and I was watching Derrick Rose play. And obviously, it's been a long road for Derrick Rose, and honestly, since he was with the Chicago Bulls in 2011 when he did win MVP and everything happened, all the injuries years after. And flash forward to nowadays, you know, he's in a pretty good place in the NBA with the Knicks. I know he's really happy just being a six-man for the Knicks off the bench. And honestly, without him, the Knicks wouldn't have been a top 4 playoff seed in the 2020-2021 season. I believe Derrick Rose really elevated that whole roster. And I think everyone knows what a healthy Derrick Rose can do on the floor, even though he is getting up there with age and he still does have some injuries. You know, when he is healthy, he's a very good point guard when healthy that can help an NBA team become a playoff team. I mean, look last year when injuries were bothering Derrick Rose, the Knicks found themselves in the lottery zone rather than the playoffs like a year ago. And nevertheless, I feel like this past offseason, there's been a lot of talk and a lot of rumors about the Knicks, you know, obviously trying to make some big moves and trades to really get this team back into a playoff spot. And in the event that Derrick Rose does find himself on the trading block, one league executive told Heavy.com that Bulls legend Derrick Rose would be in incredibly high demand around the NBA. And that doesn't surprise me. I feel like a lot of contenders really see Derrick Rose being able to push them over the edge, just being a very good veteran, microwave off the bench as a potential sixth man. And Heavy.com did then continue and they talked about a Bulls and Derrick Rose possible reunion. And Heavy.com Sean Devey, he was talking to an Eastern executive and he name-checked Derrick Rose as the most tradable player on the New York Knicks roster, hands down. And the executive did continue, and he said, you know, obviously he's older now, and whatever happened off the floor with him, you know, on the floor, he's been such a pro everywhere he has gone. His contract is good, $14.5 million for this upcoming season. And then he has a player option at $15.6 million for 2023-2024. He has become a very good three-point shooter. He burns energy, and he does like coming off the bench. And as such, the executive believes that there are 29 other teams that would be interested in taking him. Obviously, that list would include the Chicago Bulls, who definitely face some question marks in their backcourt right now due to Lonzo Ball's extended recovery time from his left knee surgery. And that doesn't surprise me. Like I've said earlier in today's video, I believe a lot of playoff contenders would really want Derrick Rose on their roster to help just bring some scoring and just a good veteran point guard off the bench. And say your team has some point guard injuries, Derrick Rose can definitely run the show at times, you know, just in limited minutes in my eyes. So that doesn't surprise me that an executive did say that the Bulls would be interested in him. I mean, less than a year ago, I made a video about how Derrick Rose was open to a Chicago Bulls return last offseason. I talked about that and broke it down. I mean, Derrick Rose has said for years now, of course, he loves Chicago. He is happy playing with the Knicks and Tom Thibodeau, but at the end of the day, Derrick Rose will always love Chicago. You know, he's from Chicago. He said many times he's open to returning. It's just up to Jerry and the front office. Now, don't get me wrong, I would love a possible Derrick Rose reunion, but I just don't see it happening. I mean, Derrick Rose is 33 years old. I mean, he's pretty much under contract for 2 more years. I mean, he does have a player option, which I did talk about just a little bit ago, for $15.6 million for 2023 and 24. And due to his injuries, especially last year, I highly doubt he turns that down, and I highly doubt the Knicks do trade him, but you never know what's going on in New York. I mean, say the Bulls do trade or just target him like this league executive is urging the Chicago Bulls to keep an eye on him. I highly doubt this ever happens. I mean, on his career, I think we all know what Derrick Rose was when healthy. But honestly, for the past few seasons with the Knicks and the Pistons, he has turned himself into a very good three-point shooter. For the past 2 years with the Knicks, he has shot about 40% from three-point range. I mean, last year for the Knicks, he definitely did have some knee injuries or some injuries in general. He only did play 26 games, and that's the main problem with Derrick Rose always. We always know what we're going to get when he's healthy, but he always has some nicking injuries, I feel like. I mean, even in 2020, he only played 50 games total, but when he has played for the Knicks, he's been a very effective scoring six-man off the bench and a very good three-point shooter. He's also averaged about 3 rebounds and 4 assists and a steal per game for the past 2 years with the Knicks. Now, let's just talk about if this would ever happen. I've said this already. I doubt it ever happens just because Derrick Rose is getting up there in age. I would love for him to return to Chicago. I mean, I truly do believe the Bulls front office will sign him to a one-day contract or maybe a 1 year later in his career, and he will retire with the Chicago Bulls. I mean, I'll make sure to throw up this tweet or this article. There was some talk about how the Bulls, one of the Bulls trainers, wouldn't allow Dalen Terry or another player to be number 1, and that's super cool. I mean, hopefully the Bulls do retire his jersey number because I do believe he deserves that. That's another topic for another video, but let me know below today's video if the Bulls should retire Derrick Rose's number 1 jersey. I believe they should. And also, due to Derrick Rose only playing about 20 to 30 games last year for the Knicks due to injuries, obviously they make the playoffs and they badly miss Derrick Rose coming off the bench or possibly starting at the point guard position for certain games. You know, let's just say he does turn down his player option and the Bulls are interested next offseason, which I don't believe. I mean, this roster is already very guard heavy. They're going to be playing very small lineups in this upcoming season, and I'm already ready for it. And I'm honestly excited to see what Billy Donovan can do with a few new pieces. I expect Dalen Terry to even get some minutes or some, runs here and there. But say he does turn down his player option and he becomes a free agent in 2023, and the Chicago Bulls are not going to have the most money to spend, and honestly, I don't really believe they could afford Derrick Rose, say he does turn down that option. I mean, in 2023, as of right now, Vooch, Coby White, Derrick Jones Jr., Andre Drummond, Goran Dragic, Tony Bradley, Javonte Green, Dosunmu are all free agents. I don't know. I just highly doubt the Bulls are going to have salary cap, and say they even do. Maybe they don't. I'd say extend Vooch or re-sign Coby White. I highly doubt this Bulls front office is going to want another point guard or guard on this roster. I feel like they need more small forwards, power forwards, and centers on this roster as of right now. I mean, a lot can change in a year. I highly doubt he does come back to the Bulls next year or the following year. Definitely leave some comments and questions below today's video talking about a potential Derrick Rose and Chicago Bulls reunion. I highly doubt it happens within the next year or so. Definitely one day, and I definitely hope he does get his jersey retired.